everyone, and hope everyone's doing well. So appreciate you tuning in as always, and thank you. So subscribe if you haven't, like the videos. Let me know if you have any comments or questions or ideas, just to kind of add to the information. I love it and been learning a lot, and it's been great. And talking to some great people too, so thank you. So in the thumbnail of the video, there's this picture of the pyramids, and I want you to look at it closely. So, and you can find it all online, but what it is it's a picture of one of the main pyramids in Giza over in Egypt. So I found this really fascinating. I've always thought, I've heard all kinds of things and, read everything from historical accounts to conspiracy theories and everything in between. Now, what's interesting is a lot of things like, UFOs and aliens are coming to light now. There's a lot of whistleblowers stepping forward about the reality of these things. So, and it really makes sense. I mean, theoretically, if you just try to forecast, right, statistically, the possibility of how many billions of planets there are in our galaxy alone, and there's tens of hundreds of billions of galaxies out there, and who knows how many more. That's only how many we can measure, and within a certain spectrum of physical frequencies or densities. So who knows how many infinite realms exist, if that's what you want to call them, different groupings of physical densities where life thrives, for example. Well, it just stands to or it just makes sense, right? Like, we're not the only ones. And there's so many things out there that you can find, like there's pyramids on Mars, and you can see pictures of these structures on like NASA website. So it's not secret, but it's not like put out there for everybody to be told, and there's clearly, I think most of us operate with the assumption that the government just knows stuff they're not telling us. And I get that, and I understand why. For a variety of reasons. Stability, we have to prove. When we find stuff, we can't just wildly speculate. Things have to be proven and follow a process. And some information can be more damaging than helpful if released improperly or too soon. So, for example, with the pyramids, right? So, there's this team of researchers from Italy and Scotland, and they apparently use this ground-penetrating radar, this type of technology to kind of scan or map what's under the ground. I've seen too many movies. I just thought we had this sort of thing all along, but it's been used in this area. It was an unsanctioned kind of expedition they did. The official ministry in Egypt of like affairs for antiquities or something did not sanction this and are saying it's all fake. And it makes sense. Okay, so what it shows, I'll tell you what I mean by it makes sense as far as trying to keep it under wraps or being in disbelief. But so these researchers, and they're getting it peer reviewed now, so hopefully it could be more substantiated and proven. But using this ground penetrating radar, they discovered more hidden rooms within the main, I think it's the biggest one. It's called the Khafre Project, if I'm saying that right. And that's the name of one of the main pyramids of Giza. There's 3 of them. Now, they were just scanning this particular pyramid, and they found hidden rooms within the pyramid itself, and also beneath it, 8 massive support pillars with coils around each pillar. And these pillars extend into large open areas and go about 2 kilometers underground, which is about, for us Americans, it's about half a mile. If I did the math right, I looked it up, I'm sorry. So it's roughly about half a mile, but 2 kilometers underground. And that just completely opens up the door to so many new questions, right? Now you see this on a lot of different podcasts of people discussing this, and but you don't see it on mainstream media, and it makes you wonder why. Like, not even to debunk it. They're just staying very quiet about it. Because if this is real, this is stuff you want to be careful how you go about addressing it, because the pyramids are about 4,500 years old, and right now we still don't know how they were built, and they took approximately, based on our current theories, 26 years to build. Okay, 4,500 years ago. So if we're like, yeah, okay, and what writing was established around 5,000 years ago, roughly, and then a couple thousand years later, major prophets, for Christianity and Judaism, and then Buddhism came after that, and all the major religions after that, right, a couple thousand years later. Well, and if that's the case, like, how long did it take them to build these pillars that were half a mile long? Could you imagine something's going half a mile into the air? Now, let me skip to the point, to a few different points real quick, because I was fascinated by this. But if you can imagine 4,500 years ago, and we're like, oh yeah, this is like the basis of everything we know. It's a cornerstone of a lot of our historical and archaeological knowledge and speculation and religions and all sorts of stuff. But if there's ancient cities underground and these large support pillars that are massive, and how long did it take to build those? How did they build those? We didn't even know how they build the pyramids yet. And there's pyramids on Mars. So what are these connections? And what do we know? And what can we kind of extrapolate or assume, put together? Now, of course, I tried to, so my channel's about, trying to understand. It's existential, but also, exploring the nature of our ability to channel information. And it's possible. The government, the CIA, they talk about this on their website. I've said it a million times. The reality of these sorts of abilities are real, and I've been trying it out for like years now, and I'm not like near accurate. I have ways to test kind of accuracy, and it's just like I'm getting better at it, but I'm no expert. Okay, so I tried asking these questions and channeling the answer, and got some interesting answers. So what I want to share is that these studies are valid. There are things underneath the pyramid. What I was told, the answers I heard was there's a fascinating, human history is fascinating, and we're just wrong. Okay, we're way off base, and I don't have all the details yet, but so there's a fascinating story with human history, and there are vast underground cities that span, and I didn't hear anything after this, like span a long way, or like miles or something like that. But something span large amounts of distance, I imagine. And this is all true. And these cities were actually built underground. So it's not like they were built and then covered up, but they were purposely built underground. And there are these pyramids are actually part of and there's conspiracy theories about this sort of thing, by the way, about the prior use for the pyramids being like chambers for energy or power. And that's what I was actually hearing, was that these were part of like an ancient power system. Like these things were built into the earth to harness power and energy. And probably why, because remember, there's pyramids all over the planet, not just there's some in like China, I think, and Mexico and Egypt. So are there pillars under this? I don't know yet. Are there pillars underneath those two? Or are they all part of this? I was told these things exist throughout the inner earth, and are part of like a power grid. So maybe that's what they were on Mars too, like this ancient civilization built these things with a great degree of technology. And I don't think it was us personally. I think this came from off-world species. It's very Star Trek. It's so funny because this reminds me of the first Men in Black, if you guys have seen that, where in order to go get the news, like the real news, they go to the tabloids. And they flip to the tabloids until they get to certain pages, and it says, alien landed in my backyard. So if you're my age, roughly, you remember tabloids back in the day. I don't even know if they have them anymore, but like 20, 30 years ago, they used to have them at the supermarket. And they had these outrageous stories on the cover and on the inside too. And it just made me laugh because all these conspiracy theories, like a lot of our speculation over decades, like aliens and UFOs, is proving to be true now. So now it's like, okay, so what about the pyramids? What about the pyramids on Mars. I think we're excited. We're living in an exciting time as technology advances, and we're able to start analyzing and exploring and understanding these things and releasing this information publicly more and more. It's pretty fascinating. But that's the information I got so far, and that's what I know, and or the information I received. But I just find it curious that a lot of these old conspiracy theories and ancient knowledge, some of this knowledge or ideas about ancient cities, it goes back hundreds of years. It's not just recent conspiracy theory speculation. It's there's things called the Emerald Tablets, and I asked about once because this guy discovered them and translated them, and he talks about some of these things and what the pyramids were used for. And the tablets are nowhere to be found. What I was told was that after he found them and translated them, they were confiscated and they're being kept by the ruling elite. That's exactly what I was told. So there's probably some information in there that speaks to this sort of knowledge, ancient knowledge that is now being proven with modern day technology. So I can see how it's sensitive. I mean, could you imagine if our understanding of religion and human history and ancient architecture we had to redo it again, because there's like even older ancient technology, civilizations that existed underground far prior, before we thought, okay, we just started to read and write around here and build houses around here. And it's just like, oh, wait a second, and then our major religions started. It's like, oh, wait, our human history goes back even further. There's more to a story, and it connects to Mars. And it's like, I don't even want to start on the moon right now because I think I 100% believe, even our astronauts have said, alien activity on the moon when they were up there. But they were told not to speak about it. Some of them did a little bit, but more towards the end of their lives, as they felt it was more safe to do that. But some mentioned it a long time ago when we first went to the moon. So I believe there are bases inside the moon, and I even believe that there are alien bases here on Earth, personally, and they've been observing for quite some time. And aliens, I think there's ancient civilizations out there, far technologically advanced, and there's a history, and it ties into ours. And how and where, I just don't know all the details yet. But I believe that. I think it's fascinating. And why not? Why not? The government's saying, you know what? Yeah, UFOs are real. We've been studying them for a while now. So it's like, we knew it. We knew it, and now you're telling us this. So I think more and more disclosure is going to happen personally in the next 10 years or so. Maybe, things could change, but there's also a movement for proper disclosures because some people, whistleblowers, are saying that the government is manipulating the information too much as far as what they know. And there are alien civilizations and UFOs, but they're not hostile, but we're treating them as hostile. And that's giving me a lot of food for thought too, because it kind of makes sense on one hand. I mean, where we're at as a species, I think we need to evolve and mature more and be able to get along. It sounds real basic, right? But in light of AI and infinite technology, if we don't learn how to get along, we're going to use ultimate technology to destroy ourselves. And it's going to be, and it is, and I think this is part of the problem, an ultimate battle between like good and evil ideologies, really, control or freedom. Or are we going to be able to coexist with two major ideologies like during the Cold War, but in a state of generally realized mutual destruction? I think Ronald Reagan put it that way. I forget. Where two civilizations, great civilizations, compete and build, but have the capability to absolutely obliterate each other, but live and let live, to a certain degree. Not necessarily work together, but when they need to, but to allow for two differing ideologies to exist. So, that being said, it's like some of these whistleblowers are saying they've been here and they're like benevolent, they're very patient, they have extreme high levels of technology. They could destroy us if they want to, but they're waiting for us to. They can't just share their technology with us because we haven't proven our responsibility yet, and that makes sense. So I always wondered, why can't they just show up and heal us or give us secrets, I mean, you don't want to go just give. It's like if we go to a tribe in the Amazon jungle and give them the atomic bomb. It's like, hey, here you guys go. Or atomic energy or nuclear technology, are they going to use it to power their homes or to destroy their neighbor tribes? So it's like we got to be careful with how. I understand why this information wouldn't be shared with us. So on one hand, it's like our government is like, oh, there's this amazing, powerful aliens, and they've been watching us from the moon and even in parts of the planet Earth for a long time, and they have ultimate technology, but they're not sharing it with us. So we've been downing their spaceships and studying them. According to some, Roswell was not a crash, but it was a purposeful bringing down of an alien UFO that was spotted, so we could reverse engineer its technology. So instead of saying, I think we're, as a species, we're reaching a threshold technologically and spiritually and mentally and ideologically, where if we don't learn to get along, it's still going to be a battle versus a mutual cooperation if we don't get along at a global human level to a certain degree. Because governments are still fighting for superiority and ownership of this technology and resources. Because they're like, well, if you guys aren't going to give it to us, we're going to down your craft, reverse engineer. Because if we don't, the Russians or the Chinese are going to, and we have to stay one step ahead of them. And it's just like, if we're going to keep that mentality against each other and work against each other, once we get to a certain point, it's going to backfire on us. So I don't know. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot of fascinating information. I just wanted to put it out there. I kind of got off topic. Well, not really. So anyways, our human history and what we don't know and what's going to come from this information, if at all, because it's being really kept quiet about these pyramids and kind of discredited. And it's interesting because if these ancient texts and more contemporary conspiracy theories prove to be true, it's very, very fascinating. And like I was saying, why not? There's a lot of stuff we don't know. It's kind of cool to imagine that there's a greater reality, which I believe in, and an amazing story, which I'm still trying to understand and piece together. But I just know there's some truth to it. Just what is it, and how big does it get? So, anyways, I just wanted to share that, and I hope you find it interesting or useful. Go check it out. It's interesting. Google this stuff online, and I definitely appreciate your time. Let me know your thoughts, your questions, or anything like that as usual. But thanks for watching. So I appreciate it. And take care. We'll see you later.